Hi, good morning. So I'm coming live today a little sooner and earlier in the week and earlier in the day. I'm just making sure I'm live because I'm going up to the mountains with my mom to celebrate her birthday. And so I will probably not do a live this week if I don't do it now. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm there. The other thing too is this live actually came from me journaling with myself. And so it feels alive in the moment. So yesterday, um, I, so some of you know that I'm launching my first group program. Up to this point, I've only worked with healers and transformational coaches one on one to help them get fully booked, design an irresistible offer, that kind of stuff, and just make sure that they put themselves out there, get visible, and really serve their heart out while also making the income that they want. And what happened with me is I got so busy that I ended up not being able to take on any more clients. And so I had a choice. One choice was I either had to raise my rates significantly, which I wasn't super comfortable doing because I come, and this is part of what we're going to talk about today, but I come from a social work background. And so I really believe in people being able to afford what I offer. If they want transformation, if they want growth, I want them to be able to afford it. Um, so I decided to launch a group program instead so I could keep serving people and essentially have it in such a way that it could still be affordable and I could scale and not have to say no to a bunch of people because I'm booked. So as I'm launching this new program, what's happening for me is something that I worked through a long time ago when I was doing my one on one work, and now it's pricing. And if you know me at all, if you've been a friend of mine or a client of mine, um, you know that pricing is the bane of my existence. It is the thing that I'm not comfortable with. And I think some of that, as I said, comes from my social work background. The other is I'm deeply spiritual. I've been a meditator since I was a teenager. I actually considered becoming a Buddhist nun for a while in my 20s. Um, and I've been in energy work and just deep spiritual work. And there's a thing within healing work and spiritual work about not mixing transformation with money, and that those don't work well. And so that's always been something I struggle with is you're either serving and spiritual or you're making money but you can't do both. And so that's been something that I've worked through and I'm still working through as I'm going to share with you. And the thing you want to know is that anytime you level up, anytime you offer something new, you're going to go through these kinds of things over again. Like as I'm pricing my group program that's coming up, I'm like realizing how much of this stuff I'm still dealing and moving with. And I was like, oh my God, I've worked through this. I've dealt with this. Why is this coming up? And that's the thing with us is we are, we're an onion. Like you work on one level and you feel like you're done, but then it's the same thing that comes up at a deeper level or at another level. Change, transformation is a spiral. And so we're always moving through it. So yesterday I was journaling, and I do this exercise that I teach some of my clients about journaling with your soul. And essentially I'm literally masterminding, brainstorming with my sovereign self and trying to figure out what's the way forward that is going to stretch me, but still be aligned to what feels important to me and still is aligned both with my value of serving and making it affordable and still aligned with my value of honoring myself, honoring my work, honoring the life I want to build, and making sure that I don't end up resentful or burned out. So as I was journaling with my soul, all these things were coming up, and they were literally coming up from my soul to myself, like all the ways I'm holding back, the different ways that shows that my prices are too low. And so as I was journaling and essentially my soul was coaching me, was mentoring me, I was like, oh my God, this is some valuable stuff. I think I'm going to share it with you guys. So that's where this live came from. And then, I tweaked it. I made it so that it would make sense. It would make sense for you. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa Cantier. I'm the founder of the Sovereign Entrepreneur Academy that's about to launch. And I've been working with entrepreneurs and people, helping them transform and level up and thrive for almost 20 years at this point. And I work mainly with healers and transformational coaches, people who are truly spiritual and sensitive, and help them take their mission out there without forgetting themselves in the process. All right, so let's talk a little bit. And by the way, if you're here at any point, say hi to me. I like to know who's watching these. And let me know if any of this resonates. Like, let me know if at any point you struggle with any of the things I'm going to share, or you struggle with pricing and pricing in a way that feels really good to you and also honors your life and the kind of lifestyle that you want to have. All right, so first clue that you are undercharging. First clue that you're undercharging is you're doing a lot and you're not getting much for it. So you feel like you're doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of work in your business, like content creation, creating offers, creating freebies, marketing, like all of that stuff that actually it takes to run a business, or you're doing a lot with your clients, like you're spending a lot of time working with them, delivering value, helping them transform. And at the end of the month, there's not much left for you to show for it. Your bills are barely getting paid or just getting paid, and there's not much left for the rest of your life, essentially. That's an indication when you're doing a lot of work and there's nothing to show for it at the end of the month. That's an indication that you're underpricing yourself, like tangibly. Clue number two is you feel resentment. So whenever a client wants more support, whenever they're reaching out to you to try to, get an answer or get a little more time from you, you feel resentment because your prices are low, and so you don't want to give more time. And that's honestly something that I've had to work through. And one of the things I tell often my clients is you want to imagine your most demanding client and you want to charge for that client. You want to set your price as if every client was that client. And I don't mean demanding in a bad way. The truth is, it doesn't matter what people pay you. They pay you what you ask, and they pay you what you ask for the transformation you're going to provide. And so if you are undercharging, that's our fault, right? As practitioners. From their perspective is they paid you a certain amount that you asked to help them get something. And it makes sense that if they need support to get to that next level that you promised, that they're going to ask for that support. So, and I think I definitely believe that if I undercharge, people won't expect more from me. They won't expect me to be available outside of sessions. They won't expect this. They won't expect that. And I have not found that to be true. And people that I know, coaches, coworkers, friends, clients, I have clients who charge significantly more than me, which is a little awkward, but doesn't seem to affect the work. And all of those people that I know who actually charge truly high ticket have actually shared that people who invest at a higher level actually tend to be more independent. They tend to be further on in the road, and they tend to actually value time more because they're busy themselves, and they actually ask for less. They honor your time more. So it is a misnomer. It is actually a misunderstanding on our part to believe that if we undercharge, people will respect our time and won't ask or expect as much. It has not been my experience, and it has not been the experience of the people that I've worked with. So what I say to my clients is make sure that you account for that in your pricing. Make sure that you imagine the most demanding client who are going to really want support, and that you price for that client. Because if not, you will grow resentful. So if you feel resentful or frustrated or stressed out, that's an indication that your prices are too low. So that's number 2. Number 3 is you compare yourself to others in your industry, other healers, other coaches, people who do similar things as you, and you price either equal to them or below them to stay competitive. And the reason that that's an indication that you're probably underpricing is because in that kind of mentality, there's a certain level of scarcity. You are not taking yourself into consideration. You're not taking your life, your expertise, your uniqueness, your transformation in consideration with your pricing. You're just looking at pricing. And running a business is never just about pricing. Now, checking out the competition, I think, can be valuable, but not for pricing. It's actually valuable to see what others are doing so you can make yourself unique. It's valuable to see, okay, what is everybody in my industry offering and what's missing? What are they not offering that I could offer? What is their positioning or their way of talking about what they're doing that is actually not completely accurate that I could then set myself apart? So comparing yourself to others is about uniqueness, is about actually changing your offer in a way that's going to make you an authority in your field. It's never about pricing. First, you have to become the leader of your business, which includes pricing from in here, not based on what everybody else is doing. And at that point, when you become the leader of your business and you're actually choosing prices that are based on your own soul, are based on something that feels aligned, then you will attract clients who are also aligned. And so only compare yourself to others or only check out the competition to figure out how to be in alignment in your uniqueness and show your uniqueness. Number 4, clue number 4. This has been very true for me. You don't see an easy or doable pathway to making what you want to make based on what you charge today. So let's say, I'm going to give you an example. And I'm picking round numbers because they're easy. But let's say you want to make $100,000 a year. And you look at what you're making right now and you're making half of that. You're making $50K. If you look at your $50K and you're like, okay, how could I double that? How could I double my income? And you're looking at your business right now and the thought of having to work with twice as many clients and having to do all the work to get twice as many clients in your practice feels absolutely daunting and like not achievable. That lets you know that your pricing is too low. So if there's no way for you to reach your goal, your financial goal, with the pricing you have right now, then there's a really good chance that your pricing is too low. And you're setting yourself up for resentment, disappointment, and burnout, because you're either going to have to hustle and really work like a dog to get to your goal, or you're going to miss your goal. So you've set yourself up for failure. So if you look at what you want to make and you look at what you're charging right now and it doesn't feel feasible, that's when you know your prices are too low. Tip number 5, you know the value of your prices, of your program. You know what you offer. You know the value of your transformation. You know the value of your work. Like, you feel secure in that. And maybe you've even raised your prices, but you keep offering massive discounts to try to get people to say yes, or you keep offering payment plans that are actually out of alignment with you. So you're offering payment plans that are like way past your program, or you're offering payment plans that you know people are going to fall off and they're going to get all your program and then they're going to fall off and not pay you what you're worth. And so that has been a thing for me, is figure out, like, I want people to be able to afford working with me, so I want to offer payment plans, but I also want to be in integrity with myself. And I want people to have an incentive to say yes now rather than wait, because I know that what I offer is going to help them. But I also have to stay in integrity with myself and in integrity with other clients and make sure I don't offer discounts that are not fair. So that's another clue that you're underpricing or you're coming from a place of scarcity, is even though you raise your prices, every time you raise your prices, you're actually still offering discounts, and you're creating payment plans that don't make sense based on who you are, where you're at, your clients, your offer. And so you're ending up out of integrity with excuse me, with yourself. All right, next clue. And this is something that's been really true for me. You feel like your work, I spoke to this, but you feel like your work is so valuable that it should be available to everyone. And you're afraid, there's a fear here. You're afraid that if you raise your prices, you'll be judged, you'll be criticized, you'll be seen as greedy, inauthentic, or not genuine. And that's been very true in my own life because I'm such a soulful person, and I include so much spirituality and energy work in my work. And I feel like it's been really, really true for my clients because most of them are spiritually conscious, are soulful, are healers or transformational coaches that really value serving and changing and transforming the world. What happens here is, if you pay attention to why you're keeping your fees low, for me, as I read this and as I felt into myself, there was definitely a sense of being afraid of being judged or criticized. When you are afraid of being judged or criticized or seen as greedy or something like that, then your pricing is not actually from a true place of love and generosity. It's actually coming from a place of fear. So your pricing is not there and put in place from a place of honoring and empowerment, honoring your work, honoring who you are, honoring your client, and being empowered in your own soul and your own sovereignty. Your prices are based on fear. They're based on not wanting to attract negative attention. They're based on not wanting to be judged. They're based on wanting to look a certain way or seem a certain way. And this is what I want to tell you. And this was part of my journaling with my soul yesterday, was this concept of her saying to me, any decision you make from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity, from a place of fear and disempowerment will beget more fear, more scarcity, more disempowerment. Any decisions we make from that place of fear and disempowerment never creates empowerment. It only creates more fear. It only creates more disempowerment. You do not get peaches from a lemon tree. It is our job essentially to set our prices from the most empowered, the most aligned, the most abundant and sovereign energy we can muster in that moment. Because when you set your prices, when you set your marketing strategies, when you set your conversations, when you set anything in your work from that place of empowerment, from that place of sovereignty, from that place of abundance and trust, then what you create is more empowerment. What you create is more abundance. What you create is more trust. So I think that's tip number 5 or 6. Next clue is you're deciding ahead of time what people will pay or not for your work. You're deciding that people don't have money right now. You're deciding that people can't afford you or can't afford more right now. And unfortunately, what I want to say about this is what you decide, you get. So if you decide that people don't have money right now, all the clients you attract are people who don't have money right now. If you decide that people won't pay you more for what you're offering, that's the market, that's what people will pay, all you're going to get are people who won't pay more than whatever ceiling you've set in place for yourself. And so I'm here to it's a little bit like the last clue. You're essentially setting your prices from a place of scarcity, from a place of lack, from a place of insecurity. And when you make decisions from a place of scarcity, of lack, of insecurity, all you get is more lack, more insecurity, and more scarcity. The truth is, there are people who will invest at any price, every price. There's someone out there, there's not someone, there's tons of people out there who do similar things as you and charge 2, 3, 5, 10, maybe even 100 times what you charge, and they get clients. You know, I have coaches who do similar things as me. They've maybe done it for a little longer. They have a bigger audience, but they do similar things as me, and they charge 10, 15, 20, 30 times what I charge, and they have clients. So when you decide ahead of time, people won't pay for that. People don't have any money right now. Not only are you dishonoring them, but you're dishonoring yourself, because that's just not true. And the truth is, there's always going to be people who can't afford you. Even if you charge $50, there's going to be people who can't afford you. So you want to price from a place of empowerment, you want to price from a place of abundance, and you want to price from a place of trust that your people will find you, and your people who will be willing and able to afford the price that feels good to you. This isn't about charging an outrageous amount of money. I don't charge an outrageous amount of money. In my industry, I'm actually really affordable. It's about charging something that honors you, honors the transformation, honors your time, honors your expertise, honors your energy, and honors the life you want to create. For some of you, that might be a lot less than someone else. It is not about them, it is about you. But what I will say is there's always going to be someone who can afford you. And so when you move from that place of trust that there are people who will pay this for me and they have money for this right now, and you price from that place, you start attracting these kinds of people. And they're the kind of people who will do the work, which is really important when we are in the transformational industry. We want people who will do the work and are actually willing to transform. So when you focus on your message, your mission, your uniqueness, and your certainty in that what you offer is amazing and transformative and absolutely life-changing, when you focus on that rather than focusing on your price, you will attract people who will pay what you want. How do I know? Because that's been true for me. It's been true for every client. And this is the end of it, is there's a lot of people who will afford things they think at first glance they can't because they want it. People who don't really want what you have to offer will always think it's too expensive, but they're not your client. So you want to really price yourself based on a way that honors you, and then move in trust and move in the passion and the mission of what you offer, so that you actually start to magnetize people who see that vision and who want what you have to offer and are willing to pay for it. And those people who are willing to figure out how to pay for it will also have enough skin in the game that they will show up and do the work and get results. And then I'm going to give you the last one. This is the last clue, and it's a little counterintuitive. But the last clue is you don't actually have enough clients. That's actually a sign that your prices are too low. And let me talk about it a little bit. So for most of us, the logic says, if I don't have enough clients, that means my prices are too high, and I should lower my prices. Unfortunately, I have not found that to be true. People drop their prices, they don't actually get any more clients. They stay exactly where they are at. Or they get clients, but the same amount that they were getting before, but now they're actually making less money because they dropped their prices. This is what happens. When our prices are too low, the people who come to us and are ready to do the work, like we offer deep work, we offer deep transformation. It takes commitment, it takes time, it takes energy. The people who are going to be willing to do that kind of work sometimes when they see a lower price, it's going to actually make them distrustful. It's kind of like if you see it out there, you see a Tesla and it says amazing deal, $3,000. Most people are not going to say, oh my God, that's amazing, I want it now. Most people are actually going to say, what the hell's wrong with it? And that can be what happens when you're offering an amazing transformation that should be priced a lot more, and people are excited about the transformation. Then you say your price and it seems out of whack with what you're offering. The people who are truly wanting to do the work and are ready are going to feel like something's off. They're going to feel like something's misaligned, and it's going to give them pause. Rather than helping them say yes, it's actually going to get them to step backwards. So sometimes when prices are too low, we are actually going to push away empowered buyers. Now, on the flip side of that, when your prices are low, you're going to attract people who don't want to pay much. And for them, your price might be aligned, but then they start seeing the work. And that's when they're going to tell you, oh, I don't know that this is the right time for me. I'm really busy. Because people who don't want to invest a lot of money also tends to not want to invest a lot of time and energy towards change. So when your prices are too low, you're pushing away empowered buyers and you're actually attracting disempowered buyers who are too disempowered to say yes and do the work. So either they won't say yes, but actually what's worse is they might say yes, and then they're going to drive you nuts. They're not going to show up to their appointments. They're not going to do the work. They're not going to get result and say that you're not good at what you do and actually bring your confidence down when in fact they were never fully in. They never had enough skin in the game to actually do the work. So that's the last clue that you are underpricing. And there's a few archetypes that work with the underpricing aspect. The few archetypes that work with that is the wounded caretaker or wounded healer, the beggar works around that, and the prostitute or the hustler. And the energy around all of that is we give ourselves away. We dishonor our values. We, in some way, compromise ourselves, compromise our time, our expertise, our energy, out of the fear of being rejected or being judged or even being persecuted. So when we compromise ourselves, we compromise our abundance, our joy for the benefit of another. We are in those archetypes. We overgive, we undersell, in order to feel safe, in order to feel secure, in order to feel accepted. What happens, unfortunately, is because the seed of that is lack, is fear, then it actually never fulfills, it never brings what we want. The flip side of that is to start seeing the signs, which are all the things I talked to you about. The resentment, the frustration, the not feeling like we can reach our goals, the feeling like we work a lot for too little, and to start meeting and stepping and embodying our sovereignty, our sovereign self. And to essentially do what I do is start having a conversation with that highest level you, the part of you that is not afraid to charge what she's worth, that is in trust, in full trust of her work, and in full trust of her value, and in full trust that things are going to work out. And to essentially step into that sovereignty and make decisions from that, and then walk in trust. Because what I will tell you is we're always reaching to the next level. If we're here and we're reaching for the next level, it's scary. It's always scary. It's always uncomfortable. So we make that choice. We make that choice from a place of empowerment, from that place of sovereignty. And then we walk in trust. We walk in trust, and we trust that if we are in alignment, then things will work out. And we stop hiding. We stop playing small. Because what happens is, as long as we're hiding, as long as we're playing small, that's the kind of results we're going to get. We're going to get small results. We're going to get results that actually keep us in hiding. The thing that happens too is when our prices are too low, we sabotage because we don't want to work for something in us, something that is sovereign, something that knows our value deep inside us, doesn't want to work for that little. And so what happens is we end up pushing clients away. We end up not showing up. We end up forgetting things. We end up not actually doing the work, the content creation, the things we need to do to attract clients, because something in us knows that we don't want to give up all that time and energy for such a little return. So it ends up being a lose-lose. Either you actually do the work and you get the clients, but you don't end up with a return that makes sense. You end up burned out and drained, or you sabotage it and you don't end up with the clients, and then you feel disappointed. So when our prices are too low, we're blocking it. We're essentially becoming invisible, and we're pushing ourselves in a place where we're either going to be burned out or we're going to be disappointed. All right, let me take a look at my notes. See. So when we're stepping in our sovereignty and we're deciding a price that is in alignment with us, in alignment with our soul, in alignment with our sacred work, in alignment with the transformation we're offering, in alignment with the clients who actually will do the work and will invest powerfully into themselves, both financially, but in their time, their energy. When we pick a price that's in alignment, which stretches our courage a lot of the time when we are underchargers. I don't know that that's a word, but I'm using it like I am. Anytime you raise your rate, it's going to challenge you. It's going to make you uncomfortable. And then we walk in trust. We have to essentially, the walking in trust means we have to essentially be willing to fail. We have to essentially be willing to say, you know what, this is going to be a win-win, or it's going to be a no. Either it's going to make sense for my clients and me, or it's going to be a no. I'm either going to love what I do and be excited and not resentful and not frustrated, or it's going to be a no. And when we step into that integrity, that certainty, that clarity, that if I don't love it, it's not success, and if I don't love it, I'm not fucking doing it, then we suddenly become willing to hear a bunch of no's. And this is what happens when you raise your rate. Oftentimes, you'll get a bunch of no's, and it's almost like life is seeing whether or not you're for real. And then at some point, you get a couple no's, you'll get 3 no's, and then something will shift and you'll start getting yeses. It's almost like in claiming your next price, it takes a little while to start attracting the next level client who will pay that price. But it's your job and my job to stay true and to essentially trust in the process and know that we are no longer willing to compromise ourselves. We're no longer willing to operate from that wounded caretaker, from that beggar, from that prostitute archetype or hustler archetype. And we are operating from our sovereignty. So there. And it's, you have to decide. You have to decide. Am I open to receiving? Am I open to that? Am I open to succeed on my own terms in a way that feels good to me? In a way that honors me and honors the sacred work I do? Or am I going to keep doing this from a place of fear? And as I said before, this is an ongoing inquiry into always stepping into our most sovereign being and operating from that place of empowerment, from that place of centeredness. And it's not easy. And this is the thing I want to leave you with, is beyond the discomfort, beyond the fear of rejection, beyond the fear of, am I worth that much? beyond the fear of being seen as greedy or not spiritual or not really a real healer or a real caring person or a real life bearer. Beyond the fear of all of that is not only what is possible for you, but what you are destined to create and to have. And that is our big work. That is our big work, to believe in ourselves enough to trust in that vision and to go for it. And people will not believe in you and in your worth until you start stepping into that as well. Until you start getting real when you're making decisions from lack and scarcity and fear, and when you're making decisions from sovereignty, from abundance, from trust. And trusting that on the other side of that resistance, on the other side of that fear, is your destiny, is what's possible for you. But it takes you moving towards that. And by the way, I talk a good game, but I struggle with that shit all the time. So I'll be the first one to tell you that it's not easy. But when we step into that frequency of empowerment, then we started attracting clients who are also aligned with that frequency of empowerment. They are ready to be empowered. They are ready to do the work. They are ready to invest in themselves. When you step into that frequency, you stop attracting people who never want to pay, never want to do the work, who essentially are not your ideal clients. And at that point, we enter real leadership because we're moving from a place of love. We're moving from a place of trust, love for ourselves, love for our sacred work, love for our clients and what is possible for them. Only then can real abundance show up and come back. So every time you're leveling up, you're going to feel some of that, and you're going to have to get realigned with that sovereignty and with what is possible, both for you and for your clients, and be in trust and walk in trust. And I tell people, like, you don't have to double your prices or triple your prices. You can take incremental steps. Like, if you know your prices are too low, well, raise them a little bit to the point where you're just a little uncomfortable, but still within your comfort zone. Sell to a couple people at that price, then raise it again. Sell to a couple people at that price, and then raise it again. And you essentially do that. You take steps to the price that you know in your soul is the aligned price. Some of you will just be like, oh my God, I'm inspired. I just doubled my prices and that's it. Good for you if that's you. That was never me. I can't do that. For me, it's always been little bit by little bit, and that's how I move through it. All right. That is all I've got to say. Say hi to me if you watch this up until the end. And I'm launching my Sovereign Entrepreneur Academy in a few weeks. And this is the program that I created essentially for myself. It's the program I looked for years and could never find. And it's based on 3 pillars. It's based on simple, step-by-step strategies, both organic marketing to grow your audience and attract clients, and simple business strategies to essentially have all those foundations in place. It's also based on energetic breakthroughs. So the mindset work, the releasing what keeps us small, the releasing what keeps us hidden and hiding out and silent, so that we can step into our sovereignty, so that we can step into our inner wisdom and move from that place of full alignment, full trust, full certainty. And then it's also based on community. And I don't mean just like, yeah, there'll be a group of us and it'll be great. Every group program has that. I mean a community of like-minded people, healers, transformational coaches, light bearers who are here to transform the world. And there will be built-in ways to network with each other, to cross-market with each other, to interview each other, to share each other's freebies, to practice with each other and get and get testimonials that we can use, essentially really use the power of the collective, of the group, to stretch us and help us thrive and grow, and mastermind with each other. So if you'd like details for that, just put details and I will let you know, or send me a message on Messenger and I will give you all the details. And just to give you a little background on where I landed with my tug of war with pricing for my program, is I landed with a price that feels right to my soul, but is a huge stretch for me, and I'm not comfortable with that. And so I landed with the idea of I'm going to have a few spots, probably 10 spots or so, for founding members. And that's going to be super high vibe, just like real, deeply connected soul kind of people who are going to get a seat as founding members for a lot lower. And then once I have those people in place, then I will raise the price and start moving, as I've said to you, incrementally towards the price that feels like the fair price for all the value I will be offering. So, when we're working with pricing, this isn't a black or white. This is how do we get to where we want to be in a way that still feels aligned to the work and where we're at. All right, it was lovely sharing this with you. Have a wonderful week while I'm celebrating my mom's birthday in the mountains. Bye.